At the very end, there were two holdouts, two stars who were so popular they could buck the trend and delay the inevitable, at least for a time. Hey, friends! In this one, we're going way back to the dawn of sound. We're talking about The Kiss from 1929. Our story goes like this. In France, there are some French people. One is our heroine, Irene. She's married to an older man who's jealous and has a big temper. He's not always very nice to others, but he does actually love Irene and treats her very well. Never mind, he's the villain. Well, his business is in a bit of a rough spot, probably due to the stock market crash. And he turns to an old friend for help. They agree to meet later that night at the friend's home to work out some financing. Now, meanwhile, the friend's young son, Pierre, has developed a hot crush on Irene and wants to have hot makeouts with his ideal. But she, being a little older and wiser, laughs him off. In a nice way, though. See, she would never dream of having an affair with this young kid, all of 18 years young. No, that's because she's been having it off with someone else, her lawyer boyfriend, Andre. He wants to marry Irene, but she knows her hubby would never give her a divorce because he's an older guy and she's hot and sexy. Yeah, I wouldn't divorce her either, would you? Well, that night, our young wannabe suitor stops by and implores Irene to give him a photograph of her that he can take to college with him. Now, before he leaves, he asks for one kiss from Irene. She gives in, but then he kinda goes gaga as young bucks do, as she playfully fends him off. That's when the hubby comes home, and he starts into beating the stuffing out of Pierre. All three wind up in the hubby's study when a gun goes off, and we don't know what happened. The kid makes his escape back home, and Irene tells a tale of an intruder breaking in and shooting her now dead hubby. But her story has more leaks than an old leaky rowboat on the bottom of the lake, and before long she's sunk and arrested for murder. At trial, her boyfriend tries to prove her innocence. Will Garbo speak and tell the truth? Even though this is a silent film, will Ayres confess to whatever he did? And what went on behind closed doors? In our cast, we have Ayres in his first credited screen role. The very next year, 1930, he would make his star turn in All Quiet on the Western Front. The husband was played by Dutch actor Anders Randolph. He starred in a whole bunch of silent films, including The Streets of New York, The Black Pirate, that one with Douglas Fairbanks, in Old San Francisco, and he even appears in The Jazz Singer. He also played Eric the Red in a 1928 picture called The Viking. That's a fun one. He made the transition to sound, but died just a year after The Kiss in 1930. Holmes Herbert played Pierre's dad and the friend. He was in a lot of things, including Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the 1931 version starring Frederick March. He was in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes in Washington, and Sherlock Holmes and the Secret Weapon, playing different characters in each one. The Ghost of Frankenstein, Foreign Correspondent, Boomtown, The Invisible Man, and he played the archery referee in the famous archery tournament in The Adventures of Robin Hood. All that and many more besides, and that was just in the sound era. He was in as many silent films dating back to 1915. Conrad Nagel plays the lawyer and love interest Andre. Another prolific actor, he was in a bunch of things too. Lights of Old Broadway, All That Heaven Allows. He narrated 1 Million BC, which I've talked about elsewhere on the channel. Helldivers, Congo with Walter Houston and Loopy Velas, and more still. He worked all the way up into the 1960s, mostly turning his hand to television. And of course, we have the great Greta Garbo in this, her very last silent film, and the last silent film MGM produced. She was one of the two holdouts I mentioned. The other was Charlie Chaplin. Both were so popular and so bankable, even after the advent of sound in 1927 or so, they were able to keep making silent films long after the writing was on the wall for the silent era. Many smaller theaters had yet to install the expensive sound equipment, but the transition was happening. Chaplin was uncertain about sound and how to work with it, but Garbo held out for a different reason. Garbo had a strong Swedish accent and was working to reduce it before speaking on film. She made no less than 4 silent films in 1929, The Kiss being her very last. The following year, Garbo would make her sound debut in Anna Christie as a character with a Swedish accent, so the transition would be more seamless for Garbo. And it worked. Her star power was intact, and she transitioned into the sound era. So did Chaplin. Ironically, when the talkies killed silent film, a whole language died with it. A visual language of storytelling, one Hollywood would struggle to recapture in the new medium over the next few years. The Kiss could be considered the last silent smooch before the move to talking pictures was finally complete. This one has a fine cast, but it is a fairly by-the-numbers piece. It is a little thin. The mystery angle is good while it lasts, and Lou Ayres, man, he was so young in this. Aside from being one of the very last silent films and Garbo's last before moving to sound, it's an okay melodrama. I guess I'll give this one, 2 1/4 paws up. It's definitely an interesting curiosity of a changing time and the end of an era. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.